Okay, this is Excel Project 1 and this is video number 3, and in this video we're going to be adding a pie chart to our worksheet. We're going to be learning how to name the worksheet tabs at the bottom, and we're also going to learn how to go in and modify or correct anything that we've done in the worksheet. So our pie chart, when we get done, is going to look like this. So that's what our goal right now is to do, is a pie chart. And the great thing about Excel is, you may remember in elementary school, if you wanted to do a chart, you got your poster board, you got your markers, you drew your circle and drew all your graphs and charts. But if one of your numbers had turned out to be wrong up here, that meant that your chart was wrong, and that meant that you had to start your chart over. So the best thing about doing a chart in Excel is, if I have created my chart and I'm all done, and then I discover that I had typed one of these numbers wrong, I can come back up here, change the number. It's going to change my total here, change my total here, and it's going to remake my pie chart for me. So there are several different types of charts that you can do when you're working in Excel. We'll see if it will show you some of them. Okay, here's some charts. And if I click here, you'll see that there are several different ones. There's column charts, line charts, pie charts, bar charts, an area chart, a scatter chart, a stock chart, a surface chart, a radar chart, or you can have a combination of different types of charts. So the first thing we have to do when we are creating a pie chart or any chart is to figure out what you're wanting to show in your pie chart. That's the most important thing, is you have to, if you don't select the right information to put in the pie chart, you're not going to get the correct pie chart. So if I was to select everything on my worksheet, my pie chart, don't do this, but just watch. So if I were to select everything, which I have seen students do, and then I go to Insert Chart and I choose Pie Chart, it's like a really messed up, complicated chart. So I can't even really tell what that is telling me. So that's not what we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that chart because we know that that is wrong. So what we're wanting to put in our pie chart is, we're actually wanting to see for our expenses, how much for the total for the year, how much of our expenses did we spend on rent? How much of our total expenses was food? So we can look over here and see the information. However, we want to have this in a chart so it's easy to look at a glance. Okay, so I have to select the information. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select A9 through A16 because these are my titles of my rows that's going to match up with my numbers. I'm not going to include the word expenses. I'm not going to include the word totals. Next, because I need to select the total area, I'm going to hold down Control because I'm picking a non-adjacent area, and I'm going to select the numbers that correspond. Now, I did not choose the word total over here, and I cannot choose my total number over here. If I would choose this number of 18,000, it's actually going to throw my chart off because it's going to show that a huge chunk of that was for the total. But we know that the total includes all these little numbers, and that's what we want. So we're just going to select A9 through A16 and N9 through N16. Okay, I'm going to go to my Insert tab. Here is my chart section. So I can just choose here on a pie chart. You can also hit the More button to see all your charts available. So it says, do I want a 2D pie chart or a 3D pie chart? And you'll notice I can hover over these and it kind of gives me a live preview of some of them. I'm going to want the 3D pie chart. Typically, whenever you're doing a chart in Excel, the 3D just looks prettier. It's not as flat. So I'm going to choose that one, and that gives me my 3D pie chart. And so my chart looks okay. It comes out. I can see here it's got my information down here, so I know what colors everything corresponds to. But a chart should always have a title. So if I click in here on my title where it says Chart Title, I can then put in what I want my title to be, which is Monthly Expenses. Okay. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to deselect the title, and I'm going to apply a style to my chart. So my chart right now, it looks okay, but I can make it look better. So with my chart selected, and I know it's selected because it has all my sizing handles around the outside. So if you're going to do anything to your chart, you have to have your chart selected. This is new in Excel 2013. So I'm going to come over here to this little paintbrush, and that's going to take me to my chart styles. The other way I can get to that if I'm not in 2013 is my chart styles are up here, and I can hit the more button there. But I'm just going to hit my paintbrush. It's going to show me some different chart styles to see which one I think I would like. And the one I'm going to choose is style number 3. So if I hover over them, you can see that it shows me down at the bottom here, that's style number 3. And it's kind of got a gray background. Now, if you're working in an older version of Excel and you don't have this style number 3, go ahead and choose one that looks very similar. Mine has all the percentages on my pieces of pie. So that's the one I'm going to choose. That's an easy way. Look, it was just a couple clicks. We've made a pie chart. We've added a title. We made it look pretty. So the next thing we're going to do is we need to move it because it's not very pretty on top of our spreadsheet. So we can actually move this so that it's on a sheet all by itself, so that we would have our spreadsheet on one page and we would have our monthly expenses on the other. Down here you will notice that you have tabs. In Excel you can have several different sheets. So I could have actually had a sheet for January, a sheet for February, a sheet for March to itemize out and show what all my entertainment was for or all my miscellaneous items. But right now we just have the sheet 1, which is our personal budget worksheet, but we're going to move this monthly expenses chart to its own sheet. So I'm going to click on my sheet to make sure that it is selected. I'm going to come up to my ribbon. I am on my chart tools design tab to my move chart. If you don't have the chart tools, you're not clicked on your chart. I'm going to hit move chart. It says where do I want to put it? Do I want to put it as an object in sheet 1? Well, that's where it is now. So I want to put it as a new sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and name my new sheet. And I'm going to name it monthly expenses and hit OK. So now you can see here's my sheet 1, which is our spreadsheet that we had, and I have a monthly expenses sheet, which is just my chart. So we have the monthly expenses name, but sheet 1 is probably not a real good name for this one, so we're going to change the worksheet tab name for sheet 1. So to do that, I'm just going to double click where it says sheet 1, and it's going to highlight or put it in gray down here. At that point, I can retype over that what I want, which I want monthly budget planner. Okay, so I have my worksheet named. Once I click off of it, it's going to be named. I can tell which tab I'm on because the tab I'm on is going to be selected with a different color. In 2013, it makes it green. So I'm here on my monthly sheet planner. The other thing I can do is I can actually color my sheet tabs. So if I want to color my monthly budget planner tab, if I right click on it, I can choose tab color, and the color I'm going to choose is Orange Accent 2. Again, if you're working in a different Excel and you don't have this one, pick a different color. So I'm going to choose Orange Accent 2. Now with me clicked on that tab, you can just barely see a little bit of shading at the bottom. However, if I come over and click on monthly expenses, you can really see that monthly budget planner is really orange. Okay, so we have our 2 tabs. The other thing we can do is we can actually drag these tabs around and move them where we want them. So if I want a monthly budget planner, first I could drag it. Just by dragging my arrow, I can rearrange my tabs in whatever order I want them to be in. But we're going to go ahead and leave it with the monthly expenses chart was first, and then the monthly budget planner was next. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to print our worksheet. Now, we're not really going to print in here. Some people like to look at things in a hard copy, which is a piece of paper. Some people like to look at things on screen. So just like in anything else, we're going to go to our monthly budget planner tab, and we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Print, but we're not really going to print. So we don't want to do that one. So we're going to go back, and you always want to use a print preview when you're looking at it. So, oh, I guess it was there. Print, you're going to make sure you pick your printer you want, but here's the important thing. We're going to look at this preview. So it's only giving me income through July. It's cutting off part of my worksheet. Well, we have this set to print on a portrait piece of paper, which is up and down, or the normal way you look at paper. So we can come over here to the portrait orientation. If I click on that one and change it to landscape orientation, it's going to change it to landscape. So that's going to put a lot more of my things onto my worksheet, but it's still not showing me everything. Sorry, I hit the wrong button and lost it. Okay, so we're at landscape orientation. So it's still cutting this off after the word October. I want to make it, shrink it down to whatever size it needs to be so it all fits on one page. So over here you see where it says no scaling. I'm going to change the no scaling to fit on one page. Fit sheet on one page. And most of the things you're going to be doing and turning in for me, we're going to fit it to one page. Because if I'm looking at this on two different pages and it had cut off a couple of my months and that was on a separate page, first of all, I don't know what these numbers go with. There is a way I can set that up, but I don't know what they go with, and it's going to be cumbersome and awkward. So I want to make sure everything's on one page. So I'm going to change it to landscape and fit sheet to one page. At this point, you could go ahead and print, but we're not really going to print. So I'm just going to hit my arrow here to take me back. It left it at landscape. So I will be able to grade that to make sure that you did that, that step. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and hit save. Just because we've done a lot of work, we're going to save that one. There is some more calculations that you can do in Excel. So there is an auto calculate area, and we can use that to determine the maximum. So I want to show you, if you select cell range B19, so column B down to 19, through M19, which is through December, so I've got January through December selected, you should too. And then if I right click on my status bar, your status bar is down here at the bottom. Now my screen, hold on a second, let me make that all show. Okay, so down here it's showing me the average of all those cells combined. It's showing me that there's 12 cells, and it's showing me the sum or the total. These do not print anywhere, but they are handy so that you can make sure that you're kind of entering your information correctly. And you can decide what's going to show here. You can customize this. So I want to know the maximum number. So I can actually just right click on my status bar, and I can come here to maximum and click on it, which then whenever I click off is going to show me the maximum number or the biggest number in the range that I had selected. Okay, the next thing we need to know is how to correct errors. When you're correcting errors in Excel, if you type over them is one way. So if this was really supposed to be 1,000, I could actually type 1,000 here and it would have corrected it. Or I'm going to hit the undo button. Go ahead and hit your undo to take it back to 100. If it was a big long number, let's say that my tuition was wrong. It was supposed to be $1,501. So I don't really want to retype the whole number. So I can double click in that box, and that allows me to either type it here and correct the 0 to the 1, or I could come up here to my formula bar and I can type to fix it there. So that's a couple different things you can do. We're going to go ahead and leave that at 15,000. To get out of that, I'm going to hit escape on my keyboard. Some other things you can do, we've already learned that there is an undo button, which is great. We didn't have that in Access, so we can use undo. And we want to go ahead and save this one, and you're ready to turn it in. So go ahead and turn this project in, and then you're ready to do your labs that you're going to be doing on your own.